Hey, Sooner football fans. This is your Sooner football fans podcast. Happy start of football season, Sooner fans. The Sooners report to Norman today, start practice on Friday. So it's a lot to look forward to. Today, me and Rob have Darrell Purser from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma on with us, and we talk all things Sooner football, from the defense to history of the Sooners and much more. Sooner football fans is not affiliated with the University of Oklahoma, but we do have eligibility left. Boomer. Hey, Sooner football fans. You got Terry and Rob here. Boomer, Rob.
Boomer, Terry.
And here we are, I think fully recovered. I don't know about everybody else from the big Champ U fan feast on Saturday night.
Had a great time.
Had a house full or a garage bar full of Sooners.
And great people.
Yeah. Let's see. We had Jim Dillingham, who showed up a little bit late. He got behind, but he made it up here. Ended up staying the night here at the house so he wouldn't have to drive back so late. He came all the way up from Fort Worth, and then
it's quite a little drive.
Claude Mills came down from Guthrie. And for sure, Claude had a good time. And let's see. Tara, say her last name, Rob. Portillo. Came up from the Davis area with her and her husband and youngin.
Paul's Valley, right?
Davis. I think it's Davis. Oh, God, she's going to rip us apart when she finds out we don't remember where she's from.
It's Paul's Valley.
Okay. I know that she's the prosecuting attorney in Pontotoc County.
Yeah.
And then we had Tattoo Baker from up the road. And it's funny because Holzhammer, has the tattoo, and they'd kind of not really collaborated, but Tattoo got his name and, asked him, I guess, permission a long time ago to do that. And they'd never met. And so
until last weekend.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. But, Cody Holzhammer was up here, came in from the city. Glad he got to move back to Oklahoma. And then Trelinda Kerr, Rob's new stock. Is that what we're going to... She was a hoot. And then, of course, Blinken Riley came up.
Don't forget Tom now.
Yeah, and his buddy Tom, his trusty sidekick Tom.
Tom is hilarious.
They both were. It was a good night. People stayed, ate and had a few drinks, and when they did their part, moved on. But I think it was all in all a success, and we've dropped 2 of the podcasts as we're recording this. We're recording this on Tuesday night, which it'll come out on Thursday. So yesterday we had our final one, and the big thing that everybody wants to stay tuned for, it's going to drop on Friday, is the poem by Blinken Riley and Tom called Sterling and the Flat. And it is pretty epic.
It's definitely worth a listen. I promise you, if you don't listen to anything else, it's definitely worth a listen.
So, but anyway, we had a good time talking Sooner football. We should have just hung microphones all over the place, Rob.
I know it.
Because all the good conversations were going on while everybody else was trying to be proper and recording. I think next time we may just do that, put a bunch of hidden mics everywhere.
It's definitely some of the best conversations that we had.
Yeah,
were definitely off camera. And you know what, Terry? This is why we started this podcast. Conversations like the ones we were having the other night with those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Just sitting around talking Sooner football. Kind of like you and I just do all the time.
Right.
And it's just other Sooner fans. I guess it's good to know and comforting to know that there are other crazy people out there like me and you. So
and then again, it broke off into all different, movie conversations, music conversations.
Yeah, I was out on some of that stuff.
But everybody just sat around and got to know each other, and it's funny. Me and you are old. We haven't really been on Twitter. I had a Twitter account before we started the podcast, but I followed the Sooners and the Steelers, and that's about it. And Iron Maiden. That's about it. That's all I followed. And, started the podcast, and you realize, people like Blinken and Tattoo and Holzhammer, some of those guys have had these Twitter handles for several years and have known each other forever and never met.
Yeah.
And which, and that was cool, seeing that everybody kind of got to, meet people that they've been talking to for years.
Yeah, and you know what? I think there's going to be a lot more of that going on this season. I think a lot more people will, get together and hopefully do some, some tailgating together, and the more we can bring this crowd together.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we've been asked to do. Is the, tailgates. If we do a tailgate, let them know where we're at, so everybody could come over and, hang out. And so, that's the plan. Is to do some tailgates and, some stuff maybe for the away games for people that are local, here at the house to come over and, watch some away games and coexist like that. But, let's get on to some Sooner stuff here. We were talking about it before we started recording. I think everybody was expecting a whole bunch of eyeballs to be dropping Saturday night.
And we got one pair.
Yeah, we got one pair of eyeballs.
And we don't even know who they belong to, right?
So, which was surprising, I guess. I mean, we had somebody, it was Tattoo was manning the eyeball. Him and Holzhammer were keeping an eye out for the eyeballs. And of course, Blinken was too, but they'd kind of say, hey, we'll keep it, eye out. And we just had one drop. And I don't know his name, but it's been hinted out there by our buddy Brandon Drum, who's now with 24/7 Sports, that may be some relation to Mr. Sterling.
Oh, really?
Yes. So
outstanding.
You can't, lose with that pedigree.
That's a pretty pure bloodline there.
So, but I think it was a little bit surprising. But still, we've got so many people locked up. I'm not even going to attempt to go back, look and see who all we got locked up, or committed. I think it's like 16 or 18, something like that. It's not like we got a whole bunch of spots to fill. Then there was the A&M fiasco, which I'm not even going to. That's all we need to say about it,
right?
And
what is with all these A&M fans coming out of the woodwork now? Like you've been relevant ever, ever.
They got Jimbo, so I guess they think they got Jimbo. It's the second coming of Bear Bryant down at A&M.
The last natty was like 1939 or something. Yeah. So, I seen Lincoln smacked them pretty good today. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was good.
But
not Lincoln,
Blinken.
Yeah.
But it was funny. I don't know if you heard it the other night. It's on the podcast. The funniest moment, Caleb had been drinking quite a bit for quite a while when he was on, and he was talking about Lincoln, and Blinken goes, "Did he just say me?" But anyway, I don't. They're mouthing off on Twitter and stuff, and I've looked at it and I've started to respond with our Twitter account. It's not worth the trouble. It's so what,
No, it's almost like fighting with OSU fans. They have nothing.
Right.
What do they have to say to us?
Right. So, anyway, move past the A&M. They don't. They don't deserve our airtime.
The lion doesn't concern itself with the sheep.
Yeah. So, but speaking of, this podcast will be out on Thursday. So all you guys listening, right now on Thursday, realize that the Sooners have reported today on Thursday for fall camp.
I didn't get my letter, Terry.
You didn't get your letter?
Nope.
Lincoln didn't call you and say, hey, man, we need you here 5 a.m.?
I may have missed it, though. I better check my messages.
But everybody's reporting. So I guess that really means today is officially football season.
Right? Tomorrow. Oh, today,
yeah. Yeah, today, because we're 2 days ahead.
Yep, today is officially football season.
So
Is everybody sitting back going,
yes. Now it's you get, really, 1 month worth of talk, and
it's going to go by really quick.
Yep. But anyway, also our good buddy over at the Transcript, Tyler Palmatier, who's been on with us a couple of times. I was reading his stuff today. Has a good article out there on the Transcript, basically about keeping an eye out, the good, the bad, and the ugly, for lack of a better term. All eyes are on the defensive front.
Of course.
I
mean, that's where that's not. I was going to say that's where we need the most improvement, but I don't know. Can you single out a specific area of the defense that needs to improve any more than any other area of the defense?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Tyler makes a good point. That in the Transcript that hasn't been disrupted on the line of scrimmage in years, and it graduated its 2017 sack leader in Oboe. So we lost that.
We got to find some stars.
Yeah.
No doubt about that.
Yeah,
and we think we have, but until they actually do it on the field,
it's a whole nother thing. The deepest position, of course, is the backfield, and there's probably guys we've never heard of that will show up this year and start, ripping it up if they get the opportunity.
Who doesn't love a no-name star? Somebody that we are not even nobody's talking about. Come season time, you're like, oh, this guy's a star.
Yeah.
Remember the receiver, not CeeDee Lamb, before him.
Oh, Westbrook.
Nobody knew about Westbrook, really.
Just climbed out of the woodwork. Really. So,
and I'm telling you, with a little bit more time, that kid could have been an absolute superstar. I mean, he already was. But I think, he could have been.
Yep. He, spent 2 years in junior college and just didn't have the, the off-season work that he would have gotten if he'd been here for 4.
Right.
Rodney Anderson obviously returns with 1,161 yards and 18 touchdowns.
And wasn't that like a 5.5-foot flat foot jump up onto a box?
Yeah. And then he jumped out of 4 foot of water onto the. Trey Sermon rushed for 758 yards as a freshman. And the coaching staff and the team is raving about the developments of Kennedy Brooks, who redshirted last year due to injury. So,
yeah. Hey, don't forget about TJ Pledger.
Yep. So
that kid's an absolute star.
Tennis position is safety. Chance Sylvie will be missing the season. Cahill Houghton and Robert Barnes, they've got some experience there. So,
is his name Khalil Houghton?
Yeah,
he the one that came in around mid-year and kind of made some of the other guys sit.
Yeah,
I didn't think he did a horrible job.
Yeah, he was in that group defensive backs that they dropped in there when they couldn't cover me.
Right.
So,
I mean, he was young and stuff. I think, with growth, I mean, that kid could be pretty good. He was nice and quick.
And then Buki is, going to play that spot, but probably, will wind up playing mostly nickelback. But I'm sure he'll be in the safety area. So,
well, it depends on him. I mean, if he just plays in the nickel, that means he's not developing like they would hope. If he develops like I think they're hoping that he's going to, then they're going to find a spot for him on the field.
Yeah,
I mean, he's going to play. So,
yeah, but.
I mean, everybody could probably say, "Hey, thanks, Captain Obvious," to that one, but.
And then let's talk about people to watch. Deshaun White, freshman linebacker. My favorite name, second to Buki, but see, Buki is a nickname. But my favorite name is Nick Bonito. That just sounds like a linebacker, and he's a freshman linebacker.
Are you sure you're pronouncing it right? Do we need to call Tara?
Bonito. Bonitto. I got that one. It's not a silent T.
Okay.
Or the silent L's. Ronnie Perkins, a freshman defensive end.
Him and Michael Thompson, those are like the two studs out of that whole group, right?
Yeah.
That everybody wanted to see, and now they're both out.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, that's right. He is out, isn't he?
Yep.
Joaquin Crawford, freshman wide receiver. That I don't know how, if you're a freshman wide receiver, unless you do something really, really good, you're going to get out there.
You're going to have to be special. Yeah, you're going to have to be special.
Ron Tatum, freshman defensive end. TJ Pledger, who you brought up a while ago, freshman running back. So there's some interesting thing about key additions and people to watch. They're all freshmen.
Yeah, but everybody's sitting back waiting on the quarterback spot, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody is.
Yeah.
And what are we going to do game one if Austin or Mordecai come trotting out? I mean, everybody's going to be like,
it will be a gasp in the stadium.
I think we'll probably know before that, first game who the starter is.
Yeah.
But yeah, there will be.
It'll be interesting.
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I really do not.
No, I don't either. I mean, it's not likely, but it's not impossible. You know what I mean?
Well, we've talked about it 100 times now, but for me, I think it has to all come down to, is Kyler Murray able to make those passes?
Right.
And if he is, it's his.
Yeah.
And if he's not, then it's up for discussion.
Right.
I still think he's going to play a bunch, even if he's not the starter.
I don't know. I mean,
unless he packs up and heads down to Oakland.
That's what I see happening. If he's not the starter, why would you stay?
Why would you?
I mean, but then again, if I got drafted 9th overall pick in the Major League draft, why would I stay? Right. I just.
Well, in college football, and I hate to say it this way, but you're always one snap away from being the guy.
Yep. So it's going to be an interesting camp. Lincoln's going to be filled in that question until he announces the starter. It's going to be who's doing it. You're going to hear all the who's, what's, and where's, and the rumors of who's doing what. But it will be interesting to see.
Well, practices are going to be closed from now till forever. But
so you need to get me in there, and I'll go hang over the Switzer Center or something.
Well, it just depends on where they're practicing. They practice all over the campus.
Yeah, they practice. I remember, last year when Caleb moved into his apartment, they practice over there in the rugby field.
Yeah.
And they got security guards and everything out there. And
better believe it.
Teresa one day just, stopped just to see for a second. She was going over to Caleb's apartment for something. She said they walked out and said, "Move on."
They will ask you to move. If you stay at that stop sign there any longer than 2 or 3, 4 seconds, they'll come out and ask you to move.
And I think Caleb said that he saw people who would come over and stand on his side. His apartments were across the street, and people would, just stand over there, and they would come across the street and tell them to move on. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if they really can do that. I guess they can, but whatever.
It's Oklahoma; they can do what they want.
We do what we want. So when they're out on the track field in the middle of the track, I can see them from the club.
Yeah,
and of course, nobody can see me seeing them. But then again, nobody can get in the stadium unless you work there. So
yeah,
you can't have.
I still don't understand why they're going to be practicing all over the. I mean, we just spent $1 billion on
indoor-outdoor facility.
Yeah, what?
And the facilities right outside the stadium are just second to none.
Yeah, so I don't know why. Is part of that natural grass over there? You would think we'd have a natural grass inside there since our stadium is natural grass.
Well, so the indoor, and it's not a full field, and the one that's just outdoor to the southeast, those are both turf. But the ones both on the southwest sides of the stadium, they're all grass.
Yeah. So,
The only thing I can think is they go over there to just assimilate new fields.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, they go and practice until they tear it up a little bit, and they go to the next one to tear it up a little bit. And
maybe with the monsters that are out there, though, probably one practice that they got it pretty tore up.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got a guest that we're going to get on, so let's get to our podcast guest now. All right, guys, we got our Sooner fan on the phone with us, all the way from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. We have Darrell Purser. Boomer, Darrell.
Hello. Boomer, Sooner.
How's it going, man?
Well, I'm doing good. Anticipating the upcoming year.
Yeah.
Football is just a little bit away.
So tell us a little bit about Darrell. You're from Broken Arrow, or tell us as much as you want the world to know about, all four of our listeners to know about you.
Well, I'll just call for that. That's good. That's funny. I have been following the Sooners since the game of the century, 70?
Mm-hmm.
And I lived in Norman. I don't know where this golf course is, but the houses were built back in, I want to say, 1968, 69, 70, somewhere in there, and it's right across the street from a golf course. Because I went across and caddied, and for $5, 9 holes. But I will never forget that big blimp flying over, going towards Owen Field. And my mom and stepfather went to that game that day, and I've been loving the Sooners ever since. Been to multiple games and been a season ticket holder since 2009.
Cool.
My wife and I have. So that's kind of me in a nutshell. Eat, breathe, and sleep the Sooners, and we go to every home game that we possibly can.
Well, that sounds cool.
Sounds awesome.
So, I know this is one of those dumb questions that people always ask, but I got a good buddy of mine lives in Broken Arrow. Do you know Ezel Ware by chance? I know it's a big city. You probably don't, but
Where? What's his first name?
Ezel.
No, I do not.
He was a police officer there for several years, and now he's a pastor of a church over there. Played middle school and junior high football with him, and then he moved to Eufaula. I'm originally from McAllister, so.
Okay.
But he's up there now. I just thought I'd throw that out there. He when you talk to him, he acts like he's well known, but I guess he's not. So.
Yeah, it's just a very big little city.
Yeah.
I call it a little. So I mean, it's getting probably over 100,000 by now, but that the high school needs to divide in two. But a lot of people say that it does not. But it's getting that big.
Yeah. Well, this podcast will be out on Thursday, so we're acting like it's Thursday right now. And
cool.
Thursday is the day, that the Sooners report. The team reports in, and they start practice on Friday. So it's officially, Rob and I are calling it officially football season. When the
there
team,
you go.
when the teams report, it's football season. So
you're desperate when we're claiming the start, boy.
Yeah, we're desperate. It's time for some football.
Yes, it is.
But all the topics that have been around, if you're on the news and on the web and radios and stuff with the Sooners, is leadership, defense, and quarterback. And
right.
I'm calling it right now. Okay, that Tanner Mordecai is going to be the starting quarterback.
That's a bold statement.
I'm thinking that's not going to happen. I would put some money on it.
Yeah, you got to have some controversy, No, I don't think he's. I don't think he's going to be the starter, but they're pretty impressed with him down here right now. Lincoln's talked quite a bit about him, so
I think the controversy. Terry, is that Lincoln has came out and said that the defense is close to elite.
Yeah.
Well, now, what does that mean? I mean,
Okay.
what does that mean?
Yeah, I don't know. Darrell, what do you think that means? Close to elite.
I'm not sure. To me, elite would be to where everybody gets their man and they go 3 and out.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening. I see them high scoring and trying to outscore the other side, but elite is 3 and out, and that's the only way I could tell you.
Top 10, top 5. I mean,
yeah, and that's and becoming an elite defense in a year's time. That's an awful quick jump from where they were at last year.
Yeah.
So I think that's
because you have a little barbecue for your defenders doesn't mean you become elite overnight. No.
Yeah. So
that's what he said.
But
we'll see.
But let's stick to the quarterbacks. Let's talk about the quarterbacks.
God, Terry.
Sorry, Rob. Yeah. Kyler Murray.
Bella's still there?
Yeah. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear now.
Okay. Kyler Murray, most fans believe is the starter.
Right.
What's your view on that?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, I heard our coach come out and say that it's still a competition, and it's anybody's game at this point. But why would Kyler Murray come back after he's gotten all that money guaranteed to him to play 1 year if he didn't get offered the starting position from the get-go? I don't know. If it's truly a competition, and he loses the competition, what's keeping him there other than?
Nothing.
I would want to go get started in my craft right now with baseball if I lost the competition at OU.
I mean, it's still cool
I've already
to be
been told that I've been given it.
It's still cool to be a college kid at the University of Oklahoma. On one of the biggest stages in the world.
Yeah, but I'm one. If I kind of agree with what Darrell's saying, that there has to be something that was said that, hey, we know what's going to happen. If you're, let us know if you're going to go because it's the starting position. What do you, it's yours. What are you going to be doing?
Right.
He's not going to, and if he's not,
you get that much money and you come to a school to compete to get a starting job. That makes sense to me.
Yeah. And then, if he doesn't get the starting job, I'd
say adios.
Yeah. I'm
fly.
Yeah. I'm
as fast as you can to
Oakland.
over in Oakland to get started.
And write the University of Oklahoma check for my tuition,
right,
and
be done.
And go, hey, thanks a lot, guys. It's time to move on.
Check. He's got that in the front pocket.
Yeah. So
he'll probably just pull out cash.
Yeah,
anyway.
Just flip it over there. But
yeah.
But I we've talked about this quite a bit. Rob and I have, and on the podcast too. But I think Oklahoma, and you're around our age, okay.
Right.
Well, Rob's a little bit younger than
Thank you. Thank you.
Not by much.
I'm
but
pretty
he
good
is.
too.
But I think there's still so many of fans our age that are enamored with an option style, a running quarterback, and we want to see that in Oklahoma. And again, whether we're running, the spread, run pass option, whatever we're doing out there, we want a guy like Kyler. We want a guy like Spencer Rattler. We want a guy like Mordecai, who they can throw the ball all over the yard and they can run. And I think that's what is more enamored right now with Sooner fans towards Kyler is they want that style of quarterback. Okay.
Right. when I was on my way to a Texas OU game about 3 or 4 years back, we stopped at the Choctaw Nation there and Durant.
Mm-hmm.
And I met up and got a signature from Thomas Lott.
Yeah.
And he says, you'll never see the true option, the way it was, the wishbone, ever again in Oklahoma, which kind of broke my heart when he said that. He said that you would have to have a whole bunch more running backs if you ever want to do that.
Yeah.
He said, right now you're not even anywhere close to what you need, which he had a point.
Yeah. I mean, because, back in those days, we were like 12 deep, at running back.
Exactly.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah. So, but, and the other end of it, the wishbone isn't going to work. I don't believe, it's, every offense at some point in time surpasses its time,
Right.
And, credit to, I don't know if it was Jimmy Johnson or who, but, the Miami figured out the way, to defend it.
Penetration.
Yeah. And
they did a damn good job too.
Yeah. And they made sure they put penetration and speed on the corners. And because your cornerbacks didn't necessarily have that much speed back then, well, they started putting athletes at cornerback, and you couldn't get around the edge. You just couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. And that's what and that's what worries people about. Army right now this year is that they run that split bone wishbone thing,
right?
That nobody else runs, and you can't practice it except for that week, because if you do, you're ignoring your other opponent. So,
well, we still have somebody alive on our side that was a coach back then that knows how to defend that damn thing, and he needs to get in there and help us.
Suit him up. That's right. That'd be funny.
That game.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be funny if Barry was on the sideline during the Army game?
Well, I do, one thing, and we've brought it up on other podcasts, but you have to keep bringing it up, is the Ohio State game when Baker went down in the first half, or whenever he went down. Kyler came in for 1 or 2 plays, and that first play that they ran was an option play, and it was a read option, but Lincoln put another wrinkle in it, and which, because they gave it to Sermon. They read the end, gave it to Sermon. Sermon took off, cornerback committed. Sermon pitches it to Kyler Murray.
Right.
And I about jumped out of my seat when that, out of my skin. And I was like, holy cow, there's another wrinkle to it.
Yep.
So that's what I think Oklahoma
that's the kind of stuff I like too. I like trick plays like that myself.
Yeah.
We might see some dynamic stuff like that this year.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Rob.
I said we might see a lot of dynamic stuff like that this year. I mean, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, you got that type of.
Well, if Kyler's going to be in the helm, you will definitely see that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I do believe.
And again, that's just that's part of the Lincoln Riley mastermind, is he's taken this spread out offense and added a true running dimension to it over the past since he's been at Oklahoma, because Tech and East Carolina, Washington State, they don't have a running game like Oklahoma. And I think that's where you credit Bob on, is that he said, yeah, we're going to run the spread, but Bob has always wanted a fullback and big, strong running backs. We're going to be able to run the ball. And Lincoln has built that spread offense around a solid running game. Not just a solid, a damn good running game.
And I'm going to make a prediction right now, and I'm going to say that if we go undefeated, Anderson will be being looked at for Heisman Trophy.
Oh yeah,
I'm calling it now.
Yeah. So that's another another deal that we can bring up, that we've been asking our fans that come on, the Sooner fans that come on with us, is there hasn't been an undefeated national champion since 2012, Florida State. Okay. More than likely, nobody has been able to run the table. Not us, not Alabama, not Georgia, not Auburn. what game does Oklahoma lose this year if they lose a game?
Well, we've already burnt the bridge on the inability to lose at home. We've already done that. We've already proven we can do that. So, UCLA. Hell, I'm even scared about the first game with the offensive mastermind of Alabama being the coach.
Florida Atlantic.
Yep.
Yeah, we don't have an easy schedule. We got the Big 12 schedule, and there's no slouches on our.
We're not playing any cupcakes.
Yeah, there's no Tulane.
No, we're not.
There's no Utah State. We've got. I think when they scheduled FAU, they were, but FAU has gotten good. They got Lane Kiffin in there, and now they're a pretty solid team. UCLA had the worst record of our non-con people, but they got Chip Kelly back, so God only knows what that's going to look like. And then Army, Army went 9-2 last year, 10-2, something like that, I think.
Well, they're solid,
and they're just a solid football team.
Solid team.
Yeah. So there's every game we should win, but I don't think any of them are pushovers.
No.
Well, we don't have a game like that.
Of course, OSU is always gunning for us, so.
Yeah.
But they'll always be a little brother.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I don't think we have a game like Tulane last year where, we can still win it even if we don't play that well.
Right.
If we don't play that well against Army, they're going to beat us.
Right. And if we don't play that well against FAU.
Or UCLA, yeah, absolutely.
That FAU game could come down to, sometime in the fourth quarter being decided. So,
well, hopefully not. Hopefully we just come out and put it on pretty hard.
And by the way, we play Iowa State that beat us last year at their home field this year.
Yeah, and the third game of the season. So we got 4 huge games to start the season off. So and I really like this schedule. I mean, we scheduled UCLA. That's a big Power 5 school, but there's there's not a Tulane. FAU. Yeah, when Howard was coaching there, they never turn around. But and I'm sure that's why. Like I said, I'm sure that's why they schedule it. That's our beginning of the year scrimmage, and lo and behold. Lane Kiffin
Lane Kiffin.
Yeah. So now all of a sudden it's an interesting game. So
yes,
but it's going to be, I'm concerned with Army and obviously Texas because you never know what's going to happen in Texas. That could be a 2-0 game and who knows, but. I'm still not drinking the West Virginia Kool-Aid. Everybody says West Virginia is going to compete this year. They say that every year. And, or I guess it's not Kool-Aid, it's the West Virginia moonshine. I just don't see it.
And a little bit of banjos in the background.
So, but no, it's going to be really interesting. It's going to be a fun fall camp because everybody's going to be beating the bushes trying to find out who's the quarterback. And Lincoln's going to have to answer that every time he steps up to a podium.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And has anybody distanced themselves and this and this. But on the other end of it.
He's not going to mention who it is until the starting day.
Yeah. And
we all know that. Quit asking.
Yeah, but the good thing is it's a good problem to have because I think either one of these quarterbacks are capable. I mean, more than capable.
Oh, most definitely.
And it's just, are you going to have the dynamic runner back there, or are you going to have the more prototypical? But I'm telling you, I went to the spring game.
I went to spring game and I saw him run.
Yeah, Austin Kendall.
Austin Kendall can do it.
Now he don't run a 4.340, but he runs a mid 4, probably 4.6. He's as fast as Baker.
Right.
So I mean, the first play that he ran was a zone read and got like 12 yards. So
right.
But
so let me read you the FAU Owls 2018 football schedule. And see on their schedule who they are preparing for. Are you ready?
Yep.
Game 1 at Oklahoma. Game 2 at home versus Air Force. Then they have Bethune-Cookman at UCF, at Middle Tennessee, home with Old Dominion, bye week at Marshall, Louisiana Tech, FIU, Western Kentucky, North Texas, and then Charlotte. So
Western Kentucky, weren't they been pretty good in the past?
I don't know.
Aren't they the ones that are always in the bottom 10 on the ESPN bottom 10?
UCF.
UCF's pretty good.
Yeah, UCF. But they lost Scott Frost. So, but you're right, Rob. I mean, your point is, without saying it, is they've been practicing for this game since the end of last season.
For a long time.
Long time.
And that's the thing with a program like that, and it's up and coming, is that they can afford to do that. They're not gonna see, when who's their second game, Rob? Air Force.
Yep.
It's going to be like, going into slow motion when they go to play Air Force, because Air Force is not going to have the speed and the size, nor is anybody else that Oklahoma has. So that's their entire focus, because that's going to prepare them for everybody else. So it's going to be, first game's going to be exciting.
If we could make it, in my opinion, past the first two, I guess the first three. Who do we have the fourth game?
We got FAU.
So Army's the fourth one.
Yeah, Army's the fourth one. Iowa State's the third one. UCLA's second. And then,
oh boy.
Yeah, yeah, that's now.
So if we get past the 4 games,
then we got Texas. So
yeah,
Baylor,
then Texas, So,
and then the good thing I think about in our schedule is our bye week is probably right in front of our toughest game this year, which will probably be at TCU.
Yeah,
we have a bye week, so we can heal up. We can, we can spend a couple weeks on TCU, and then we can go in the home stretch. Hopefully,
yeah,
undefeated.
Yeah. So. But here, since we talked a little bit about the quarterbacks, okay, and I started to ask this question the other night. We had our first annual, Darrell, we had a little deal we called, that went along with the barbecue that the Sooners have every year. We called it the Champ U Fan Feast, and we invited some podcast people, people that have been on our podcast, over to the house. Had a big barbecue and did some podcasting Saturday night, and had people from Texas, southern Oklahoma, northern Oklahoma. Had about eight folks up here, but all we had Tattoo Baker, that's from Twitter. Cody Holzhammer, who he's the young man who got the Baker tattoo, and obviously they're huge Baker fans. My question is when does the lore of Baker turn off in Oklahoma? Because
never.
I'm
sorry. I think a lot of people think he's. It's kind of hard for me, because I've came up with Joe Washington and all of them, but and to me, Boz was the king forever, but. I'm wondering if that baton hadn't been passed now.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's always those legends and lores and everything, and every time you turn around on Twitter, because that's where we do most of our social media and our promoting is on Twitter, and you have all these people that are just enamored with Baker, and that have become Browns fans because Baker's there, and I
became a Baker fan in the pros. I'm not really a Browns fan, and I'll never wear orange. So, but I will wear the brown with the orange trim. Okay, you got me wearing the orange trim.
Yeah, no, I won't. It's a my.
But I can't do the orange shirt. I'm sorry, it's not in my DNA.
No, but see. that's what gets me is like, oh, you got so many people, and I'm a Steelers fan, lifelong Steelers fan. Okay, huge.
I'm a Dolphins fan, lifelong.
Yeah, so
perfect season.
Yeah, there you go. And I like the Dolphins too. Shula loved Shula. Okay,
Zonka.
Yeah, and Zonka and Greasy and all those guys.
That's right.
But my Twitter feed now, or mine and our podcast Twitter feed, is just bombarded with Browns news. And it just drives me nuts. I know more about the Browns than I do my Steelers because it keeps popping up on the news feed because everybody is sharing whatever Baker's doing in Cleveland. And
they're going to win that.
But I get twofold because I'm also seeing Jarvis Landry, which was my number one receiver for the Dolphins last year, that I thought for sure whenever they traded him for 2 number 1 picks to the Browns, that we were going to get Baker. I mean, I thought for sure they were going to pick him, but no.
Yeah.
My heart sunk.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But I mean, that's what I keep wondering is, well, let's say Kyler gets the starting position, and let's just say you start seeing that zone read option pitch thing like we did with Sermon, and he starts having 300-yard passing games and 150-yard rushing games.
Oh God, tear it up! Yeah.
Is that going to be all of a sudden? Woo! Everybody's like, okay, now people are talking about Kyler anyway, but is that going to turn that? The enamored.
No.
Go ahead.
He's a different personality.
Exactly. Yeah.
To me, there's not going to be. Look, I mean, he's the same type of personality that Boz was. I mean,
right.
Look at me. I'm it. I'm the man. And he went out and proved it on the field. But Kyler's not that. I mean,
right.
He just proves it on the field, but he doesn't bring attention to himself. Is he possible? I mean, if he goes out and does what you're saying every game, he'll be in the talk also for the Heisman.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And what a finish that would be before he goes and plays for the A's.
Right.
But I'm not feeling it yet. Give it some time.
Okay, so we were talking schedules a minute ago. I want to read you guys a schedule, and y'all tell me who it belongs to.
Okay.
It won't be that hard. They start out at home with Louisville. At home, Arkansas State. At Ole Miss. At home with Texas A&M. At home with UL Lafayette. At Arkansas. Home against Missouri. At Tennessee.
Alabama.
And let me get done here, Terry.
Oh, sorry.
Don't spoil. They got a bye.
Whose schedule is this we're talking about?
We're supposed to guess it.
At LSU, Mississippi State. Now listen, the Citadel. And then at home, by the way.
Yeah.
And then at home against Auburn.
Yeah, that's Alabama.
That's Alabama.
That's Alabama.
Now,
but
I mean, our home
what a
schedule.
fun schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our home schedule don't sound that tough. I mean, if you're outside looking in, but I'm telling you, FAU, Army, UCLA are a heck of a lot tougher than the Citadel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And UL Lafayette.
Yeah, and seeing that's that's every SEC team does that. That 1 week they have that towards the end of the season break where they play, the Citadel or
Podunk University.
Yeah, which I guess that's their thoughts are that hey, towards the end of the season it's basically an off week. We'll give our starters a bunch of rest, for the long run. But I'm not sure where we rank as far as the strength of schedule, but I know it's up there. But it's not.
It's got to be.
Yeah, I mean, just for the non-conference, because I think Army ended up. I have to look it up, but I think Army ended up ranked in the top 25. If not, they were pretty close to it. But no, but here's another. Again, we talk to a lot of younger folk on our podcast a lot, but let's get your feeling on this. Okay, I brought this up the other day. Is Heisman trophies are great. It's a great lore, and it's all neat. You're happy for the players and stuff. But me personally, I'm tired of winning all the Heismans and not winning the championship.
Not winning the national championship. Yes, me too.
Okay, see, it must be a generation thing because.
Okay, but at the same time, I'm tired of the Heisman hex too.
Yeah, exactly, because Jason White, won the Heisman, lost the national championship game. Sam Bradford won the Heisman, lost the national championship game.
Right.
Baker Mayfield wins the Heisman, doesn't get to the national championship game because, got to the playoffs, which, let's face it, it's part of the national championship. The playoff is part of the national championship now. So he got into the mix but didn't win it. Yeah, the statues look pretty. They're big. Rob's office, he gets to look out his window every day and see Billy Sims statue out there.
Right.
And we got 6 of them now. And not that I don't want 7 or 8, but I want 7 or 8 with a national title going along. It's
now we have 7, right?
7 national championships. And
yes.
Yeah, and we got 6.
And if you're counting the USC one because they had to forfeit, then that's the 8. But not, yeah.
Yeah.
Who wants to have something like that given to you?
But now I might if it would have been like an overtime loss, but the fact that we got hammered in that game, you just want to forget that game, just move on, So, but
I'm ready for number 8.
Yeah,
I really am.
And and it's like I said, Heisman trophies are great, but let's Alabama has won 2 Heismans since 2000, and Nick Saban, I think, is on his 6th national title. Now, granted, one of them is at LSU, but I guess Alabama, he's won 5. Is that right? 4 or 5?
Something like that.
Yep.
And, I would much rather have that than I would, since 2000, 3 Heisman Trophy winners and no national title.
Right. I'm with you. That's the older generation, though.
Yeah. But,
speaking of older generation, I also want somehow to be able to schedule Nebraska every year.
Oh yeah, I would love that.
That'd be awesome.
Well, I don't know. People say that they don't know how we do it. We did it for years with Texas, so why couldn't we do it with just call up Nebraska and say, hey, let's take we play Texas. They're in our conference now. Let's take the 3rd weekend or the 5th weekend, or the 5th game every year, and we play Nebraska. I don't think it would be that hard.
No.
Because for years when we were in the Big 8 and they were in the Southwest Conference we haven't been in the same conference for what, 20 years?
And we did the Texas every year.
Yeah, so they need to make that happen. I agree with you 100%. The battle of the Big Reds.
And it wasn't going to hurt my feelings if the Big 12 broke up and OU went to the Big 10 conference. Hell, we play them every year then anyway.
Yeah.
Or close to thereof, at least every other year.
Well, this young generation has no idea how significant that game was for us.
Oh, yeah. But again, it comes back to a generational thing, like Rob said, is that Nebraska, not only was it a great game every year, but that was maybe one of 2, maybe 3 games that you got to watch on TV.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have every game on TV when we were kids. You listened to John Brooks, Jiminy Christmas, and down the side.
Jiminy Christmas.
and honestly, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but it's the one rival that I don't absolutely just hate.
Yeah. Oh, I don't hate Nebraska.
I don't hate Nebraska. I like
Nebraska.
Nebraska.
I do not.
Yeah.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, it's great. I went to an OU Nebraska game, and I sat next to some of the nicest Nebraska fans.
Absolutely.
And it was
exactly.
It was I believe it was during Gibbs' era, and they were respectful. They we got beat pretty I don't want to say handily, but we got beat. But and they were like, hey man, y'all keep y'all's chin up. Oklahoma will be back and we'll be having these epic battles.
Absolutely.
It was the best group of people that I sat around a game with, and I can't say that about the OU Texas game. Georgia at the Rose Bowl, I sat around a couple of fans that were really nice and respectful. But
the only other one I can't stand is LSU.
Oh, yeah.
We played them that year at the Sugar Bowl. I mean, they're worse than West Virginia fans, in my opinion.
Yeah, and if you just know any LSU fans, you know that's a.
I don't participate in having a friendship there.
Yeah,
I choose not to.
But yeah, that's a good point, Robbie. It was a on both sides. It was
mutual respect,
and and it still dumbfounds me that because they're two completely opposite. What's the word? Not mentality, but Osborne and Switzer. They're polar opposites.
Right.
But yet they're like best of friends. They apparently talk a lot, and when you see them at stuff, they're it just dumbfounds me that those two guys. It was Dr. Tom and the bootleggers.
Dr. Tom.
Yeah. What kind of stud is Switzer, though, right?
Oh, yeah, really?
Man, come on. That dude is.
The guy can walk in anywhere in Norman and command the audience. You know what I mean? If he wants to. Most of the time. And he is, anytime you see him, if you say something to him, he always says something back.
Super nice guy.
And if you stop him to talk to him, he stops. But I've never stopped him, but I've seen people, stop him and stuff. But
right.
And one of my favorite stories about Switzer was when me and my wife went to a Thunder game, and we're walking out in the crowd and everything, and I turned to my right, and Barry Switzer's walking next to me. And I nudged my wife, and I went, and he was just walking just like anybody else, just like the rest of us, trying to get out of the arena.
Sure he wasn't floating?
Yeah. Sure he wasn't floating. And I turned around and said, "Hey, Coach, how you doing?" And he goes, "Fine. I'm doing good. How you?" And I was like, "I'm good." And I said, "What'd you think of the game?" He said, "It was a great game. I can't remember who the Thunder were playing, but no, we won it. But it was just neat that he, here he is in the group of, 10,000 fans, and you say hi to him, and he carried on a little conversation with me, for, a minute or so. So
that's right. That's really cool.
But he's a legend, and
very personable.
And apparently, according to Sooner Lisa up there from, she lives up in Tulsa. She's one of the ladies that's been on our podcast. Apparently, he can do some shots too. Still,
he can put them away.
Yeah.
He does what now?
Do some tequila shots.
Hey! make sure he doesn't have that gun in his briefcase this time.
But she was talking about she was at some event, and I can't remember if it was an OU event or one of her work events, and she was there, or I can't remember what it was, but she told the story on our podcast that, and he was just so nice, and she goes, and I want to tell you what, she goes, I thought I could drink. She goes, I love doing shots and everything, and she goes, that man went shot for shot with every single one of us.
Wow. I didn't know that about old Bear.
Yeah, he's he's still, I guess, got that bootlegger boy in him a little bit. But
so.
Yeah, probably had a little bit of that back in the day too.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
But anything else that you're looking forward to?
No, I just enjoyed shooting the hay with you about the past Sooners and the future, and look forward to kickoff September 1. And I'm a dove hunter, but I'm a Sooner first, and I'll be at that football game. I will not be hunting.
The doves will be there the next day, right?
The dove will be there the next time. Yeah, exactly.
All right. What about you, Rob? Anything else you want to jump on real quick, or?
I really want to talk about that. What that coach said about OSU. You know how many Division I schools wrestle?
It's only like 30 or 40, isn't it?
70, I think.
Yeah,
70 out of what is there, 300 or something?
Yeah.
What's that now?
how many Division I schools wrestle? And so what this guy, is he a wrestling coach?
No. But, some guys were talking about wrestling just kind of, I guess they see it as being obsolete one of these days, that no schools will wrestle.
Oh, really?
Then what's OSU going to do?
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Put more money in their equestrian.
Well, there's only one sport, in my opinion. That's football. Everything else is extracurricular activity. Yeah. So if you want to brag about the fact that you've got a national championship or an extracurricular activity, go right ahead.
A lot of people say that college wrestling, collegiate style wrestling, is going to go away for and they say pretty soon,
pretty quick. Yeah.
Like I said, then Oklahoma State won't be able to hang their hat on any national title. You have national titles. Right. And that's another thing we realized Saturday night is you realize we play 2 1945 national champions this year. How many times does that happen?
I think they just need to have it out once and for all to see which one's really the national champion.
You think there's going to be some signage up in Norman?
Oh,
we welcome the real 1945 national champion.
Oh, man, and somebody needs to get the announcer to do that. That would be, that would be epic.
That would be epic. Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, but how many times have you ever heard of a team playing the national champion that won it both years? You've got 2 different games, so yeah, we're taking on 2 national champs. So, but hey, Darrell, we appreciate you joining us, and
hey, it was a pleasure.
And I've got your number, and what we're doing is as the season goes on, we've got some stuff planned, and so I'll reach out to you, me and Rob will, and see if you're interested in doing some stuff during the season.
Okay. Well, I generally hang around before games at a couple of tailgating one, but one of my buddies is the one that runs the big Sooner Schooner tailgate off of Selgar.
Okay.
So if you ever want to make it around there, check him out. He runs a good program, and
I'm sure we will.
He was the one that lived across the street from me whenever I was 9 years old in Norman. Whenever I caddied at that, and I hadn't seen him probably since I would say from the time I was 10 years old until the time I was 50 years old. It was a 40-year stretch, and I signed his sign, still best friends after 50 or 40 years. Whenever cool. I met him again off of Facebook. So he's a cool dude. His name is Roger, and tell him Darrell sent you.
Okay. All right. Well, everybody, thanks for joining us on today's podcast, and we will see you next time. Boomer Rob.
Boomer Terry.
Boomer Darrell.
Boomer Sooner.
Thanks for listening to the Sooner Football Fans Podcast. If you want to be on the podcast and talk Sooner football with us, go to www.soonerfootballfans.com. Click on the How to Be on the Podcast tab, fill out the form, and we'll get you on. Boomer.